I've been selling my art at art fairs for around 14 years now, and I've been selling online for a little longer than that. But one of the things that I've learned at art fairs is that it's a lot easier for me to sell my work. I'm right there, I'm in front of the customer, I'm interacting with them. They're getting to see my work in person and hold my art prints in their hands before they purchase. And so over the years, time and time again, I've tried to figure out how to take those skills that I learned from selling in person and translate those into selling online on my website. Because I always figured if I could do this, it would be the unlock, the thing that helped me sell online easier. And I'm happy to report that after all this time and trying out so many things, there are a few that actually have helped me sell more work online. So I wanted to share that with you in this video. Here are 6 things that I learned selling in person that have helped me sell more art online. Since one of the best selling points for in-person shows of artwork is the fact that the customers get to see the work themselves, and so they know what they are getting, I like to try my best to translate that into online selling. And what I found with lots of experimentation is video is the very best way to do this. You can see here one of the pages on my website where I just have a simple iPhone video that I took as a vertical video, and there's no sound, but they can see all aspects of the original painting. They can see the frame, and sometimes I will point to things that I want to emphasize. Let's say that I have a floating frame, so I'm showing the edge of the painting and the way the frame kind of wraps around, because some people are unfamiliar with floating frames, but they look really professional, and customers love floating frames when they are on the original paintings. So I always like to kind of show these little things, anything that I've done to the painting to make it look cool. Like if I have metallic paint in there, I may show how it changes the look as you're moving around, because these are things that a simple photograph cannot show. And what I found is whenever I have these videos on my pages where I'm selling original paintings on my website, I sell them so much easier because the customer can see the scale of the work and they can see a close-up detail of it, similarly to what they would experience if they were standing in front of the painting. They get an idea for it because it's a video rather than a photo. Now you might be wondering about in situ photos. These are photos of your artwork, let's say in a fake background that shows it like above somebody's couch in their living room, so it's showing the size and the scale. And maybe if your artwork would go in multiple places, like it could show it in a bathroom, or it could show it in some sort of corporate environment, wherever your artwork would fit best for the potential buyer to want to display it, so that way they get a feel for where it would hang. And using in situ photos to display my paintings did work for a while, but what I've found in recent years is that it doesn't seem to help me sell at all anymore, and the videos are so much better. I don't know if this is 100% across the board. I'd love to know if you've been experiencing this. Have you tried the in context or in situ photos of your paintings, and have they been selling your work? Have you tried video? Does it sell it better? Please post in the comments, because I would love to know what's working for all of you, but this is what I've experienced. And what I think it comes down to is that the customer wants to experience something that feels real. And whenever you are digitally placing your image in those in-context photos, it doesn't look real. It looks too perfect. But if you have a video that you took yourself with your phone, it's obvious that it's not perfect. And it might even be a little shaky as you're moving it around. But there's something real about that. And there's so much fake going on in the internet now. I think the more real that you can make it, and the more that they know that the artist had their hand in the photography and the video and all of it, I think the better. Ultimately, having a slight homemade feel, something that's not over polished, lends itself to the credibility of the fact that you are an individual working artist trying to sell your work, much more than some over-processed professional fake background that's generated by AI, or maybe a photographer set it up that you're like digitally plopping your image in. It's not nearly as charming to the customer and as endearing and as honest as something that you filmed in your studio, like sitting on your easel, just really quick with your phone. When you're selling at an art fair, it's so easy to be able to connect with customers by telling them the story behind your paintings, right? And then you can get them to want to purchase because you can tell, like, their face is lighting up, you can tell they're into the story. But whenever you're telling the stories of your work online, you're not having that feedback loop with the customer. Ultimately, you're just putting your story out there. Either you're writing out your story in the product descriptions, or maybe you're using a video to be able to actually tell the customer your story. But either way, there's not that feedback loop. So you don't know if the customer is responding to it. You're just throwing lots of stuff out there and hoping that the right customer will respond to your story. And I gotta say, this is one of the trickiest things about translating what works selling in person versus online, because you need to be able to have that experience of talking to the customer if you want to sell to them well in a similar style. And what I like to do though, and what I've found that works, is actually using my YouTube channel to be able to sell my paintings. Because in the comments of my videos, I can talk to customers in a very similar way that I can talk to them in person. And I can tell if someone's like, oh, is this piece for sale? Then I can talk to them in the comments. I can ask them things. I can get to know them. I can even mention that they could email me for more information. And oftentimes customers will then come from my YouTube to my email and I can communicate with them more. So what I would suggest in this situation is to decide whether you like writing your stories out or doing video. I think video is a little bit better because they get to connect with you, but not everybody wants to be on video. So decide which you want to do, but try to make sure that there is a way for your customers to connect with you, to be able to ask you questions, and not just a contact form on your website. From my experience, social media works so much better. And that's why I think one of the best ways to sell your work is using whatever social media platform that you are promoting yourself on, using that to get people to come to your website. Because you can be using your content to tell your story, and then in the description, you can be doing those extra steps of selling that you would have been in person. It's also really important to let your customers get to know you. Just because you are selling online doesn't mean that you just need to throw up a web page and just be anonymous on there and kind of have a few photos and it's pretty cold, it doesn't feel warm, it doesn't feel like you're interacting with them. Because this is one of the things customers love most about shopping for art in person. They're getting to experience the work in person, they're feeling joy, they're getting to talk with the artist, feeling the artist's joy and excitement about their work, their passion. And that passion is inspiring and it's contagious, right? People want to be inspired. They want to know about your passions. They want to know you, because knowing, liking, and trusting is crucial to be able to make sales, especially online. Because in person, you can kind of get past the know, like, and trust factor fairly quickly just by being good at sales. But online, you're not getting to be a salesperson in that respect. You have to craft an entire brand around yourself ultimately. And so how do you do this? It's not just as simple as having an About Me page on your website, because that is important, but you need to take it a few more steps. Because if you just have an About Me page, they can read it and they can learn something about you. But that's what you've said about yourself. It's not them really feeling like they're discovering you. What I've learned is to use social media for this piece in the sales process, because you can get to know people so much better by allowing them to see all sorts of posts that you're making on social media than you can by them just reading your About Me page. And I love YouTube for this, because YouTube, you can make long form videos and they are sitting there with you for like maybe 10, 15 minutes. It depends on how long you're making the videos, but they're there with you. They're watching. They're getting to know you. You can show all sorts of things. You can make vlogs. You can show them any inspiration behind your piece. And this makes them so much more interested in your work. And it falls right in line with all of those experiences that the people who are shopping from you in person are having. So this way you can kind of bridge that gap. I also wanted to emphasize here that I think YouTube is especially well suited for this above all of the other social media networks. And this is because people are spending longer amounts of time with you on your long form videos. I've tried using Instagram and TikTok to sell my work as well through their short form video, and nothing sells my work as well as me making long form YouTube video content. Whether you're selling in person or online, it's very important to be able to anticipate the questions that customers are going to ask you and have really good answers for them. In person, you want to do this because they're going to be thinking of reasons not to purchase. So every time they have an objection, you want to have an answer to that, a workaround, something that will allow you to continue to sell. But online, when people are shopping, you aren't able to suss out what those objections are because you're not there talking with them. This means that your sales pages need to be very extensive. They need to have everything on there that a customer could possibly wonder. So that way you can answer their questions quickly and address their potential objections that might be stopping them from purchasing. If you've been selling in person, you probably know some of the common questions customers are asking. So I would suggest to make sure that those are listed and explained on your website. You can have an FAQ section under like all of your art prints, for example. That's what I have on my website. But you can also just build in the answers to the questions in the descriptions of your items that are for sale. If you're selling art prints specifically, one of the things I love to do is have a link on all of my art print pages that sends them to a page on my website that's describing the frames that I suggest. And the added bonus here is if they click through any of the frames onto Amazon and purchase, I get an affiliate commission. So it's a win-win situation. I've created more information for the customer so that way they know that if they purchase a print from me, it's going to fit a frame that they can afford and where they can get the frame even. And it also helps me because I'm making even more money off of that customer who's purchasing my print and then going on to also purchase a frame. One of the easiest ways that you can use in person and online to increase the perceived value of your original paintings is to include a certificate of authenticity. I have a video tutorial of how to make these. I will link it down in the description. But ultimately, if you have certificates of authenticity, customers are going to love this. At a show I did earlier this summer, I had a customer in my booth and she was thinking about purchasing a print of my Frenchie painting. But then she was also looking over at the painting and it was $150. The print was $22.50. So she was kind of mulling it over and I could tell she was deciding. She was having a hard decision. So then I popped in and said, well, the original painting does come with a certificate of authenticity. And right after that, literally less than seconds later, she's like, okay, I'll buy it. She loved watching me fill out the certificate of authenticity, and all customers seem to really like watching me do this at the shows. It's like this little extra thing that they get to experience, and it makes the artwork more special and feel more valuable. And ultimately, that's what you're trying to do with everything that you put on your website about your originals or anything that you're selling, but your originals especially, is that you want to increase that perceived value. And so that's why on my website, I have a whole section that describes the certificate of authenticity that shows what it looks like and says they are going to receive one with their painting. So that way it kind of approximates the experience that those customers are having in person of feeling like they're purchasing something that's more elevated than just a regular art print. On my Shopify website, I can see how many times a customer comes back to my website before purchasing. And usually it's around 3 to 5 visits before they actually purchase. So customers are thinking about their purchases a lot. But at my art fair booth, it's often a lot different. People are just walking through and they're making an impulse buy. They come in once and they purchase. Every once in a while, I will get a customer that comes in and says, well, I have to look through everything at the show before I come back. And then they will come back and purchase. But most of the time, like 90% of the time, that first time they come in, they purchase. And this is one of the aspects of customer behavior when they are shopping online that's so vastly different than when they are shopping in person. What I like to do, and I think it's highly suggestible, is to try to get people who are on your website to sign up for your email newsletter. Now, in person, you also want to get people to sign up to your newsletter, but I think online, this is even more important because if a customer comes once and then they get distracted by something else in their life, they still in the back of their mind might want to purchase your work, but they're doing lots of other stuff, right? They're not in there at your booth purchasing. So you're not in control of the situation at all. I mean, they could just leave and forget about you. But if you can get them to sign up to your newsletter while they're on your site, you have a contact point that you can reach out time and time again. So that way you can get them to come visit your site 2, 3, 4 or more times that is required to get them to purchase. I've tried a whole lot of stuff over the years to get people to sign up to my newsletters. Some of it's worked, some of it's failed, but here's the thing that has worked for me the best and is working the best currently. It's having a pop-up form on my site, but I'm not giving them a coupon code or a freebie or any type of giveaway, because if you do a giveaway or a coupon code, you will get more people to sign up, for sure. But oftentimes you will get the type of customers to show up, especially for the free giveaways, that are just trying to get free stuff. I tried this last year. I was giving away a print every month. I was getting so many people to sign up to my newsletter, more than ever. But none of those people ever purchased. And I also have a double opt-in. I used to not do this, but it made the quality of my emails actually getting through to people's inboxes lower, because I would have a lot of people sign up who would just never open my emails and they would go to their junk folder. So by having that double opt-in, it has raised my inbox open rates, which gets more of my newsletters in front of people's eyes rather than having them go to the spam folder, which is really important if you want the people who are interested in purchasing your work to be able to actually see your emails. I sell so much art through my email newsletter, and there's no way that I can stress to you more that you need an email newsletter if you're trying to sell through your website. You use social media to get people onto your website. Capture their emails through your pop-up form, through your email newsletter, and then have contact with them. Get them to know you through the email newsletter even more, and then eventually they will purchase. I mean, that's the customer journey that you want to have, ideally. Alongside instituting some of these tactics that have worked for me, if you're an artist selling at art fairs, it's always a good idea to try to listen to your customers. Try to observe everything that's going on in your booth and see what things are getting customers to purchase more in person. If you're having difficulty selling online, try to figure out ways that are unique to you and your artwork to translate those things that help you sell so much in person to selling online, because doing that is going to help you sell so much more work. I know it has for me. And if you'd like to learn more about selling your art online, I have a playlist right here. If you'd like to learn more about selling at art fairs, I have a free course right here. All right, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.